Well, here we are. We're down to the last two. This is very sad for me because watching it this way, I had a very different perspective on Church of Blow and Bernard Smith when I was making it. Because when I was still working on the Cornelius Blow scripts, Ishmael was writing Bernard Smith, and most of it was written by the time I actually started making them. So I knew the scope. I knew where it was going. I was very excited about where it was going. And so even when the gaps started happening and the videos took longer and longer and longer, the reason I pressed on is because I knew what was ahead. There was things I really wanted to get to. That's why I thought it was worth going and going and going. And I eventually got to the point where it's like, I can't. There's just no point to this anymore. I always wanted to make a movie, and I still do. And the movie would be very different. I would have some elements would be the same. But, the YouTube series was always going to be its own unique thing. And I am sad that it never happened. I almost want to apologize that it never happens. That it just tapers off. Because this was a series. The first season has a beginning, middle, and end. The second one just... And, I don't know. In the course of this series, maybe I can provide some closure. But, anyway, first up... just not to depress everyone. So the last two videos were made in France. So the Church of Blow, I guess it's fitting that it eventually wound up in the same continent where it was conceived. But so this one, the legendary Bernard Smith, this was one of our floater episodes, that could have gone anywhere. And I wanted to do it much sooner. Actually, I'd always wanted to do it closer to the beginning. It could have been episode 5, because it refers to Mike. It refers to the fictional writer Mike. So it probably would have been better to come much, much sooner. But I always wanted to do, like Monty Python style, like Terry Gilliam style animation for it. And I got Mike Booth to do it. And so I don't know, I guess for whatever reason I was feeling motivated to get it done finally. 2010 was like the busiest year for me. That's when we did the show La Mort à Dame and at the Avignon Festival. So that was all going on. So the fact that this video was just me lying on a fucking bed. That's all the effort I had to put into it and record the voiceover. But I love this one. I love it for the animation primarily and the script that Ishmael did. So I'll just go ahead and play this. Oh yes, traditional opening.
Hello folks, this is Charlie Kimbo. Now I tell you, I had a hard time getting into work this evening. I don't think anyone's seen anything like it since Elvis went to the big burger bar in the sky. There's a line of girls from the front of the building here halfway in Alabama, and they're all here to see this man in front of me now. Mr. Bernard K. Smith is in the studio.
Doing my radio voice.
I'm very pleased you can make it in today, Bernard. Thanks for making our crappy little radio station worthwhile for a change. I'm happy to be here. It's nice to take a break from Hollywood for a while.
I talk too fast sometimes, I'm sorry.
How did you and the writer of the Cornelius Blow scripts, Mike, is it? Yeah, Mike, Matt, something like that, I forget. How did you two meet? Well, that's an interesting story, Chuck. I was in London for the British Academy Awards, Lifetime Achievement, thanks again, Britain. And there was this poor guy lying in the street, battered, bruised, bleeding from his head. He was Mike. And so I went to offer he'd been trying to hawk his crappy sitcom script around the place. And he'd approached John Cleese, Michael Palin, and Terry Gilliam, who just snapped. But the Pythons beat him up. That's right. Or had him beat up. I think they got some of the younger comedians to give him a good The Monty Python team got
a lot of Mitchell and Webb references in this series.
Never underestimate the Pythons. They're still very influential in British Well, I took pity on him. I gave him a job. I told him he could write something for me on YouTube. I see. It was an act of charity. So you're not only a talented man, you're also very generous. Yeah, I do my best. honest, I have to ask you, did you know the impact the Church of Blow and your character Cornelius Blow would have on the world? Yes, I did. It was the most successful channel on YouTube. That's really quite special. Probably the most critically acclaimed, too. Yes. Yeah, I would imagine so, but surely it must have come as something as a surprise when, as a result of your performance...
See, this would have been funnier if we had done this before we were featured, before we had any kind of acknowledgement.
Really? Even when the Pope made that announcement in Vatican Square to those tens of thousands of people that... Hold on, I have the exact quote here. Religion is all a bit stupid, really. Just a bunch of people talking to their invisible friend. We only started it as a laugh. We're sorry it got out of hand. That was a special moment. So what's the secret? How come Church of Blow succeeded where thousands of rationalist thinkers have failed down the centuries? Do you think it's down to the performances or the strength of the writing, or what do you attribute? Well, that's not up to me to say. I leave that to others to judge. I'm really quite humble about the whole thing. But it's definitely because I'm brilliant. I see. Well, thanks for those insights. I've got Bernard K. Smith in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. How are you spelling that? With an I. And Bernard has agreed to be here the whole day, so he's going to be talking about himself practically nonstop for the next 8 hours. I hope you're okay with that, Bernard. Yeah, I'll code that. Please phone in the usual number with any questions you have for Bernard. You're okay to do phone in with each month? Sure. But first, it's coming up to 10 o'clock.
I gotta slow down sometimes. Jesus Christ.
Our top story tonight, the British writer of the Church of Blow, Mike, Matt, something like that, died in a tragic and bizarre accident while doing something he shouldn't ought to. I don't know, probably involving farmyard animals and a phallus-shaped vegetable of your choosing. Our reporter is on the
scene. Yes. I forgot about this running joke we had about guest writers. Yeah, well, there you go. Not a lot to say about that one, but I enjoy it. Okay, so here we go. So here's the last one I ever produced, and it's called DIDME. So I kind of left, which was actually a big step forward. DIDME, it's an acronym. It was never revealed what that acronym is. I'm not going to reveal it now. I will reveal it, but that's actually something that my friend Alex came up with, and I had forgotten that was his, because at one stage long before the YouTube series, Alex helped me do a treatment, for what would have been the movie based on this premise, and he came up with DIDME, and he came up with the acronym, which was the real joke. So it's interesting that we kind of reveal it the other way around, but yeah, that's what. So I forgot that what Alex had actually contributed, because by the time it was so long ago that because I kind of I gave Ishmael all these materials, and so DIDME wound up in the script, and in my mind I thought Ishmael had come up with it, but it actually came from that treatment. So it was Alex. And of course this was shot at Comedy de Caen, and their sort of dining lounge area, which looks like a cafe, so it was perfect. I could just go in. It was like a Saturday, no one was in there, so I had the place to myself, so I could film on location somewhere that looked like a cafe and no one else was there. And you can see in the background, you can see photographs from the show that we put on, from us on the island of Réunion. I'm not saying that right, but you can see photos in the background. I'm just looking at the still of the opening of this. I haven't played it yet, but you can see photographs that we took on the island. That was an incredible experience. But yeah, no, I should just play it. But this was done in early 2011. So the massive workload of 2010 was over. I was kind of coming off of that. And this was at the beginning. 2011 turned out to be a very strange year for me. It was the year that kind of set the stage for what was to come. Basically, in the conversation with my 12-year-old self, which I did a year after this, the state of mind that I was in that video was real. That video represents where I was truly at mentally, which actually turned out to be perfect for that video. I think that's one of the reasons why the video works. I was in the right state of mind when I made it. But 2011, I was still under contract, but like they kept I was kind of sitting around the house waiting for orders essentially, because they had this show they were going to put me in, but then they kept delaying it. And so it was weird. Like I wound up kind of like I wound up spending the entire year kind of sitting at home waiting, because like every month I thought, okay, next month I'm going back, but then I wasn't, and then I wasn't, and I was, and then the whole year had gone by, and it was it's like, on one hand, it sounds great to have a job that you don't even have to show up to. It's really not that great. I think in life you need you need something to occupy yourself with. It's like, if you don't need to work, you need to be doing something. You need a reason to leave the house and do things. It's like, if you don't need to, you have to make up a reason. You have to be out producing. I could have done so much more with that year, but I think I was in a weird anxious state because I was expecting, things to happen, and things never happened. But this was, that's, whole nother story. But, so this was at the beginning of that, what was to be that year. And, this is the last video I made in this series. So here we go.
Well, first I'd like to thank you two gentlemen for agreeing to meet me at such short notice.
Oh, this sounds terrible. This is why I finally caved in. Got a shotgun mic.
And how did you hear about our little business venture?
Oh, I thought I told you on the phone. I'm an actor. My name's Bernard Smith.
Smith with an I. Welcome to my fucking church.
Now we know who you are, kid. In our line of work, we pay very close attention to YouTube's original content providers. You know what I mean?
So what do you want, kid?
Yeah, well, I am 30 years old, and I would appreciate it if you stopped calling me kid. Not an option. I was put in touch with your organization by a friend.
A friend?
Yes, Fishhook. I accidentally kind of borrowed one of his sketches.
Accidentally borrowed?
Yeah, I stole one of his sketches. He's a little pissed about it, and so he gave me one of your cards thinking maybe you could assist me.
Show me. Show us this so-called card.
Okay, air quotes are kind of redundant, by the way. No, wrong thing to say. Here.
DIDME. Yeah, that's one of our cards. Look, there's a little kid in the seat.
Ah, that's cute. So what did you say your friend, this kid, funny sort of name?
Fishhook.
Yeah, so what'd you say this Fishhook picked up this particular artifact?
He works in the Orpheum Theater. I assume he picked it up in the lobby from a stagehand.
You know what they say about people who are silk?
Makes an ass out of you and me.
They end up with no legs, face down in a ditch with maggots crawling out of their eye sockets.
We didn't put no stinking business cards in no lousy Orpheum Theater.
We're very particular about who we fraternize with. We don't just hand out our cards to stagehands, kid.
Yeah, so maybe you want to try running that by us one more time before my friend here starts making assumptions.
What, you mean hurting?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think that works.
Well, that works. That works. Well, it's the way you say it, making assumptions.
Well, it's not an innuendo. Doesn't matter how much emphasis you place on it. It's not ever going to sound sinister.
What? There's nothing wrong with it. It works just fine.
I just think we got to talk about the banter beforehand. That's all I'm saying. Hey, where you going, kid?
I think there's been some confusion. See, I thought you guys were old-fashioned, dollar-a-gag joke writers, and I'm sorry I wasted your time. You could have spent bickering about your bon mots. And if you call me kid one more time, I'm
Sit down, kid. Sure, we're gag writers.
We can be gag writers.
Joke writing is one of the many strands of our
Operation.
We like to diversify, if you know what I mean.
No, I really don't. But I heard you're good. Best in the business. I heard you help out Leno when he's stuck in a rut.
That's a fucking lie. You want to help, kid? You best can with the insults.
So, are you going to help me?
Sure.
Excellent. You're both scary and bizarre.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Yet. I just need an idea for my YouTube channel.
Subscribers getting twitchy, huh?
Well,
saying you ain't as good as you used to be.
something like that, yeah.
You're starting to think maybe they're right?
Well, no. But
Well, but it's gonna cost you big.
how much?
$30.
And 43 cents.
Yeah, that is pretty steep.
Talking quality material here, kid. You in or out?
Oh, I'll get the money from Fishhook. Okay, I'm in. I'm in.
Good. Meet us outside this joint in 2 hours. Money in a brown package. And be discreet. What? What are you, stealing from Back to the Future 2 now?
What?
The sight gag. The be discreet and then the clothes.
It's not stolen, it's a reference.
Whatever, kid. Money first.
No. Same time.
You don't know what DIDME stands for, do you, kid?
No.
Oh yeah, you can see the
You'll
Comedy
find
to
out.
Come
I've got a feeling
sign up.
we'll be meeting again. We're looking at you. Shit.
Oh, fuck.
Ah, and there you have it. Very abrupt ending with a gag where the idea that they give him is to play video games and swear a lot, which I guess at the time I was referencing Angry Video Game Nerd, which now that's such a diversified genre of YouTube videos. Back then, that's when the gaming controversies were. They seem so innocent by comparison. I think it was like the Video Game Nerd and the irate gamer, like the guy who ripped him off or something. Like I don't know, it was all stuff. But but that wasn't the gag in the original script. I don't remember what. No, I should have looked this up before I started this. Because in the original script it was a different. We were making reference to someone else, a YouTuber who didn't exist, someone who was already so long gone that there was no point in even making that the joke anymore. So I went for something more general, because that still works. That's still, in fact, it probably works better now, because that's primarily what YouTube is now: video games, playing video games, and cursing and shouting racial epithets, apparently. But that's it. Oh God. So not long after I made this, when I went back home, as I said, I spent most of the year at home, and I considered, because I already knew, it's like, there's no way I'm going to finish the series. So I toyed with the idea of doing a podcast and try to complete the series completely in audio. But even then, like, I started looking at some of these old scripts, and it's like, here's one, I don't know. There's one about the Fred Savage thing. And I was thinking, this wouldn't really work in just audio, and I don't know. So that's why I kind of tapered out, because I asked Keith if he wanted to do it, and he was willing to do it. And then, when my contract was up with Comedy to Come, I was like thinking, okay, well, I could brush off some of these old scripts, and just like some of the scripts, like do them not part of the Church of Blood series, but just do them. And one of those scripts was the iPod sketch. It was originally called Fishhook's iPod sketch. But it was a remake of my very first YouTube video, iPod Demands Blood. And over the years, I've made more than one attempt to do that sketch. Like when I first got on Patreon, I was going to do it. I even made a trailer for it, and it just fell apart. My camera broke, and I couldn't finish it. And then last year was my 10-year YouTube anniversary, and I tried again. I was like, this time I'm gonna finish it. Because it's the perfect, what better way to celebrate 10 years on YouTube than to remake my very first video. And I tried to get, cameos, I tried to get everyone involved. But it's like, as soon as I got on camera, it was like, no, it's too soon. I need to ease back into this, because I'm not ready to throw myself into this. So, sorry, deprived you of that more than once. And I've thought about doing, because now with the YouTube studio, they have great green screen, stuff, but they're very, when it comes to copyright stuff, you got to be really careful shooting stuff there. So even doing a sketch about an old iPod could create problems. So I don't know. So I probably will not ever do a complete version of that sketch. However, now that I've run the course produced episodes. I can dust off some of the scripts, and we can look at those, and I can try to do some kind of reconstruction of the missing episodes for the 50 or so people who watch these who are interested. And it's not going to be easy because, like I said, the order got tangled up a little bit. Because I always made episodes according to what I had available, where I was, who I could get. So, but you can see a little bit of a progression there. Like at the beginning, I referred to Fishhook being pissed at me because I stole his sketch. The sketch I stole is the doppelganger sketch. That follows on from Frontimer, where he makes me swear on oath that I don't steal his sketch, and then I do. So I'm just like, yeah, Bernard's a serial sketch stealer. So I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna have a look at those old scripts, and so when I return, we will begin talking about Bernard Smith, the missing episodes. So, see you then.